All right, tonight we're going to go somewhere pretty cool. We're going to go into a real cool vibe. This was a film that I saw at South by Southwest. I, like you, have been watching 3 or 4 films a day, maybe 5 films a day, maybe 80 films over the course of this festival. Has that guy done it yet? Has he broke the record? I hope he has. And some of you might know what I'm talking about. Someone's breaking a record for 80 films at this festival. And I was tired, and I sat down, and I said, Dead Mail seems interesting, I'll take a look. And within minutes, I was like on the edge of my seat going, what is this movie? The faces, the vibes, the sounds, everything was so intriguing. It reminded me of filmmakers like Peter Strickland, the Coen brothers, it reminded me of Stephen King, but it had an identity all its own. Please meet the filmmakers, Joe DeBoer and McConaghy.
Thank you all for coming to this. Thanks to all the filmmakers that us make this. I wanted to thank this guy. I've known him since 6th grade. There was one momentous night I remember he called me. He wanted to play me a song he had written, this kind of a breakup song. And he played it over the phone. I'm like, this creative genius. So the fact I could be here, it was a good chord progression. It was good. So anyway, yeah, grateful to be here. And
and Dead Mail is a film that we just, we have to credit the amazing cast and crew that worked their asses off on no budget and had unflavored LaCroix and no guacamole on their Chipotle orders and things of that nature. But you will see their performances. That's it, we'll leave now.
There was the cast for Dead Mail. Please enjoy and turn off those phones because we don't want to interrupt these vibes. Good night. Why'd you kill Jasper, guys? But seriously, to go back to the beginning of this, of where all this began, you know, where did it start? Did it start as a story about synthesizer engineers? Did it start as a story about dead letter detectives? I love how many threads there are in this film and the community of characters that you built. Could you speak a little bit about what the origin of this project was?
So Origin 1, the idea of Dead Mail, super rad. We're like, that's cool. Let's sensationalize that. Create this guy. Origin 2, this guy had an idea for a bound woman originally crawling to a mailbox. Very problematic. And then we switched that. And so 2 things, and then synthesizers obviously would be the third because of the progression there.
But it seems like these characters come with such a rich history. Do you want to, now that we started with the beginning, you want to jump to the end and the what happened to these characters and the sort of implication that this may be a true story or not?
Yeah, that was a silly thing. We had been toiling over this edit for a long time, and I wanted to, when I sent it to Joe, I was like, what's something that might make Joe laugh? So I quickly put in the dumb post-mortem thing.
No edits were made to that.
It's just stayed. Maybe it shouldn't stay, but it's there. And
we talked about this backstage because like Trent's performance is so good with the chicken.
It's amazing performance.
Yeah, and like even on set, the 6 of us total, and they were all like, "Holy shit, that was amazing!" So.
But Jasper, Tomas, I'm curious about your character Jasper and how much, because it really feels like we're only getting just a piece of his history and his relationship with the Nordic hacker, the Scandinavian hacker. Yeah. What did they share with you? Was there anything that you kind of brought to that character that wasn't necessarily on the page that you imbued with? Because it's just such a great character and you play him so well.
Well, they found out about this later after we shot the film. I have a history which relates pretty closely to Jasper when I was in New York as an actor. A lot of actors, what they do is, in between gigs, they wait tables. And I didn't. What I did was something called skip tracing. And it's basically just finding people, finding their assets. And I did this for attorneys. So that helped me really tap into Jasper. I mean, really, the whole idea of him being alone in this little office, sectioned off by himself, I could relate to that really easily.
Tomas turns 100 this year.
And you said that in real life you were a lower bunk guy.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That was the one invention, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
He told us none of this though.
No, they didn't know it.
He just called and was like, "It's a great script, guys. Let's see what I can do with this."
So let's talk about the music and you arrived at synthesizer, so obviously there's a logical step of the score should feature a synthesizer, a synth-laden soundtrack. Can you speak a bit about your collaborators with regards to the soundtrack, the choice of music as well that you arrived at?
I think, just based in the story, Josh tinkering with the synthesizer a lot, we kind of knew that we wanted that to be a template of the soundtrack. So we had some old synthesizers we bought off eBay in our youth that we dusted off and made the kind of the not great score. But then there's also a composer, Janet Beat, I think from like the early 80s, and we found a couple of her tracks that were really good and provided some of that kind of dissonant keyboard playing. So, and kind of the origin of all that was, we liked Wendy Carlos, and so we bought some synthesizers off of eBay, like 2003. And they would never work, so we'd have to open them up and just start pushing buttons and stuff and try to get them to work. But
Kyle did that. He was really good at it.
not successful.
The missing keys, usually the black keys, the sharps and the flats.
I was a
Josh really well. Keep the momentum going, Peter.
Before we throw to the audience, I want to talk about the visual look of the film and how it's rooted in the aesthetics of its era. Could you speak a bit about just how you arrived at that aesthetic? I know technical questions are sometimes boring, but I am fascinated by the cinematography of this film and how it emulates an aesthetic of the era that really feels like it was shot back then.
I mean, the sets, I think, are the biggest thing that contribute to that. The costumes, photos from the 80s and our Midwestern families were, quintessential to creating those. A little bit of film grain never hurts. Practical lights. Kyle, you speak more, but I mean, the Mormon videos that you watched.
There were some 80s Mormon VHS videos, at least memories of those. Like, let's try to get some of that aesthetic. But I think our first film we did together, we were wanting it to look kind of vintage as well, and I don't feel like we really went as far as we wanted to. So this one, we're like, all right, let's try to go big, and whether or not successful, we at least didn't want to play it safe, I guess.
Did you build Trent's house? Like, was that a set? Like, or did you find a creepy house with a weird basement skylight?
That was like 5 different houses, I think. The skylight on the floor was real, of course. No VFX or anything. But yeah, no, it was hard to cobble that together. We filmed it in LA, so that made it tougher to find strange Midwestern-like homes. The bathroom is my bathroom, so that was a transition in life.
Yeah, he had a couple dates right
after
after.
the locks and stuff on it. They're still there because we stripped the screws. So if anyone knows a good contractor.
That's always the first question, though. It's like, hey, how's the new girl? And it's like, oh yeah, she saw the bathroom.
I've since painted the floor back to not green.
The wallpaper's there.
I'm going to throw to the audience if there are any questions. Right over there, then we'll go down here. Yes.
Okay, like I heard synthesizers, but I also heard theremin. Did you actually use theremin in the soundtrack?
Was there some theremin in the soundtrack as well?
I think that's Janet Beat, the composer from the 80s, that we got some stuff.
Yeah, and the Yamaha SK20 that we use has sort of a theremin sound. It's not real, but great observation. Right there.
Trent's car is like a character in itself. Oh, where did you find it?
Where did you find Trent's car?
Turo.com/vintage/Chatsworth, California.
There you go. Pick one up. Yes. Yep.
Fantastic film. I noticed that Claire de Lune was a pretty central piece in the score throughout multiple times. Were there any other classical or contemporary pieces of music besides the composer directly that were hidden or more obvious in the film? And what were their significance?
What was the significance of some of the classical pieces that you put in the film?
They sound cool.
Sometimes it's all it works.
I think at some point we felt like Josh, he has to place, he plays a demonstration in a trade show, and maybe, he's an engineer, obviously he likes music, but maybe he's more coming from a traditional musical place. I think I was trying to find like Purcell or Bach songs that weren't like the most obvious ones, but the second or third most obvious tier
Pay
ones.
homage back to Wendy Carlos. I mean, you gotta have some themes, right?
Yeah, there are probably like 4 or 5 classical songs.
We'll go there, and then I want to check the dress circle next in case there's yes, there is a question up there, but get right over there.
Why Peoria?
Pardon?
Why Peoria?
Midwestern families. This guy, his family was from Metamora, right?
Yeah.
And my family was from southern Wisconsin, so I used to drive through Peoria to Madison. And so, I mean, central theme,
The frumpiest sounding.
Peoria and live in Madison.
No way. Right. Texas. What's up with the Beloit toll these days? Have you been through that? Yeah. Just got the bill for that.
There was a question in the dress circle. Yes.
Me?
Yep.
Yeah, first I wanted to say that Jasper was fantastic. I really liked him.
Thomas rules. Tomas rules.
I was really sad to see his death a second time from, a second point of view, Trent's point of view. And I was just curious, when you put that in from Trent's point of view, was that to kind of punish your audience?
In all seriousness, I mean, we do, we're wanting to be sensitive to like the violence in the film and toward the characters. And but Tomas has become a great friend. Also Sterling, who plays Josh, like the first day on set, he's been a good friend of ours for years. So the first day on set when he came with like the chains on and everything else, it was kind of like, oh God, is this too far? So we were hoping maybe not to do that and not to be, I don't know, too grotesque with it. But yeah, I haven't seen this in like 6 months.
Yeah.
Seeing it today, I was like, oh,
It's been a
poor
while.
Jasper, poor Josh.
I just meant in terms of the length, actually, just.
It's more so just the different points of view were what we were really interested in seeing. So that was the original intent.
Great.
But hopefully it wasn't too grotesque.
And side note, I feel like we sound like lethargic. We're really excited to be here. Just nerves.
Yeah, right over there, and then we'll go over there. Yes.
How much did it cost you to make the film?
No, it's a budget question. This film is
50 million.
so distributors, you know what to buy it for. I'll just say the budget questions are always tough when it's a film that's still a sales title, looking for its distributor and for its home. So I will go to the balcony right next, I promise. Thank you for calling out though, right over there.
Why nothing but Neapolitan ice cream?
What? The Neapolitan ice cream.
Phonetically, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, what would you have picked?
It's 3 in 1.
Yeah, in many ways, it's I think it's a movie that feels like it has almost three stories too, so it kind of fits that there. It's a free one.
First time, Peter, welcome.
In the balcony. So someone had a question in the balcony before.
I'm someone. Hi. Jazz with the ice cream and the brown jacket. I see you. I have a question for you. You spoke earlier about like channeling an earlier working experience to the
I mean, that work is very, it's very solitary, so it's like a secret skill to do that kind of work. I think when you do that kind of investigative work and you're doing it by yourself, yeah, I guess you do kind of tap into some remote kind of sadness. I suppose it is, but it's very concentrated, and it's very slow, and you have to be very patient, and you can't get too frustrated. And Jasper never does get frustrated, so he doesn't really get frustrated in his quest to find whatever it is. It could take a long time, it could take a short period of time. And when I did skip tracing, it was the same way. It could take me 6 minutes to find somebody, or it could take a year and a half. It's just, and so it's just labor. You just go through the process, and it's very solitary, and you just, I don't know. I've never really thought about the process because you're alone, so you don't have anyone else to reflect off of in terms of what you must be giving off. I don't know if that makes sense.
I like the detail in the film that Jasper works with a model kit. Was that something that was just kind of, well, we logically want to have him use paint and the epoxy? Was there something more to the detail, to the idea that he solves these other puzzles, I guess, in his spare time? Like he's always solving puzzles, I suppose?
I think overall we wanted Jasper to feel like there, certainly was depth and maybe a past and maybe something he was trying to work through or overcome, and I don't know, maybe something like methodical like that felt interesting. What did you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's a terribly introspective guy. Even when he's like on his break, I mean, he goes outside, he stands there for a while. He's constantly thinking, he's constantly going through it. He's in his world, And I also don't think that he's just in his world and he just stays concentrated.
Did anyone have a visible man growing up? Because if you did, you want to incorporate that into the film.
Question right in the front.
Was there any inspiration for Trent Whittington? Like a very odd character, but like.
Where did Trent Whittington come from?
A teacher that he and I had senior year in high school. The class was called Worldviews. He taught them, and he ran for Senate, state Senate, and he got really depressed after he lost. That's.
Has he heard of the movie?
No, I don't think he's with us anymore. He's an older fella, but good guy.
Yeah, not making light of it, but he came to our class. He had to take a leave because he's disappointed for losing the election. And the first day of class, he delivered some version of that oil drum speech. It was, as a 15-year-old, I was like, okay,
Let's bang this.
Yeah. For real though, or yeah, I guess
I think it was good he lost that election, retrospectively.
Please put your hands together for Dead Male. And remember to vote for the film at TIFF.net/vote. 2 more nights, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.